What's the big deal with BILT points? Well, if you downloaded their free app in the last year, you probably got free United status, Hyatt Globalist status after only 20 nights instead of 60, and maybe even a flight to Europe for only 6,000 points. All you needed to do for this was download the free app. How were people doing these things? That's what we're covering in today's video. P.S. This video is hashtag not sponsored, but I do want to disclose that I am on the hashtag BILT partner team. Okay, here's how people were getting flights to Europe for only 6,000 points. So our first example is going to be with Air France KLM for how to use BILT points. What you can do to find all of the best routes with Seats.aero is go to Explore, and they've recently added Air France KLM Flying Blue right here. So we can just search for any flights from North America over to Europe. I recommend paying $10 to see the extended availability. You can also check for a minimum number of seats here if you have a family of 2, 3, 4, or more people. With Air France and KLM Flying Blue, it is also nice because children will receive a 25% discount when you're booking with points. And they have tons of great flights where you can fly from Montreal over to France for less than 12,000 points. You could fly from Detroit to France for less than 12,000 points. In economy, a lot of different routes for less than 12,000. And then with business class, flights start at only about 40,000 points. You could fly Montreal over to Amsterdam for 40,000 points. You could also do something like JFK over to Paris for 55,000 points, or JFK connecting through Paris over to Madrid for about 55,000 points as well. Because with Air France, they don't charge you extra to tack on those last leg positioning flights within Europe, as long as you're connecting through Paris or Amsterdam. So there are a ton of different available flights. Like for example, let's search for this one from JFK over to Madrid on November 8th, 2023. What we're gonna do is go to airfrance.us, click on Book with Miles, one way from New York over to Madrid. We're gonna leave the departure date blank, even though we know what date to search for. We'll just leave that blank for now and search for one adult in business class and click on Go. And so here we can see all of the dates that have a pretty cheap availability. Like in November, it looks like Seats.aero was actually a little bit out of date, and that one that we saw on the 8th wasn't available, but we could fly from New York over to Madrid either on the 21st or the 26th for only 55,000 miles. And here we see that when we do click on that date, here is the flight. It's actually operated by Air Europa, and it is direct from New York to Madrid. I thought this was going to be routing through Amsterdam or Paris, but it is a direct flight for only 55,000 miles plus $10.10 in taxes and fees. Back in May, BILT also had this promo with Air France KLM Flying Blue where they were doing 100% transfer bonus. So that meant if you transferred in 1,000 BILT points, that would actually become 2,000 Flying Blue miles. So if you were trying to fly to Europe for only about 12,000 points, like we saw was possible over here, you would only need to transfer in 6,000 BILT points, and then it would turn into 12,000 Flying Blue miles, and you could fly over to Europe for as little as 6,000 BILT points transferred over to Air France KLM. Similarly, with all of these different business class flights, whatever price you see here, you can just divide that by 2, and that's the price that you would have been charged back in May. Unfortunately, this promo has ended, but BILT is always coming up with more promos, so this is a really good way to save on flights to Europe is with these types of transfer bonuses. Only needing 6,000 points makes a first redemption seem so much more doable. But if you're new to points and you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed right now, even with those small redemptions, don't worry. We offer a free Points and Miles 101 course for you to help you earn and redeem points for your first redemption. The course covers everything you need to know to earn points and get your first flight covered. Grab the free course at geobreezetravel.com/free course or check out the link in the description box. Up next, here's how people were able to fast track getting Globalist status with Hyatt, which unlocked perks like free upgrades, free breakfast, 4 p.m. late checkout, and more. Here's the play. Another popular use of BILT points is to transfer them over to the World of Hyatt program, where you can get some really luxurious stays starting at only 3,500 or 5,000 points per night. So for example, here we have a couple of Alila hotels. We have the Alila Manjas, the Grand Hyatt Bali, Hyatt Regency Bali, Alila Ubud, and all of those are less than 10,000 points per night to stay in these really luxurious resorts in and around the island of Bali. Sometimes you can also get more expensive hotels, like the Andaz Bali is only 15,000 points per night, but it would normally cost $320. Or the Alila Villas Uluwatu is normally 30,000 points a night or $855. So that is quite a steal at nearly 3 cents per point if you wanted to redeem your BILT points and transfer them over to Hyatt to book a resort like this. One of the most popular, I would say, bucket list hotels that often people talk about when it comes to Hyatt is the Alila Ventana Big Sur, which is actually in Big Sur, California. And this one can be notoriously hard to find. So for example, if we wanted to stay in February 18 through 19, picking some random dates and book with points, we can try to find availability with this, but we're gonna often come up with results that say, unfortunately, the hotel is not available during those dates because it is such a great deal. They run out of availability pretty quickly, and they only have about 40 rooms on site. There is, however, a trick to finding what dates have availability for exclusive resorts like Alila Ventana Big Sur. There's this website called Aways, where if you click on search, you can type in the hotel that you are searching for. So we're gonna say Alila Ventana Big Sur, and you can type in any random days and click search, and it's going to say there's no availability to book with points for the selected dates. But what you can do is over on the map, click on where the hotel is, it'll zoom in, and you can click this green arrow right here. This will give you a calendar of all of the award availability for the next year. Just click on this award availability button, and you can see a lot of the dates are grayed out. They're completely sold out on most Fridays and Saturdays, and a lot of times they're going to be out of the standard rooms, which normally cost 35,000 or 40,000 or 45,000 points per night. And that's why you can see a lot of these, the minimum is going to be 90,000 points because all they have left for award availability are the suites, which cost twice as much. So if you wanted to stay in a standard room, you would scan through and say, okay, here's something on October 12th. It's normally $2,000 per night to stay at this hotel, or it can be done with 45,000 points. So once we see availability like this, on October 12th, we would go back to Hyatt and say, all right, Alila Ventana Big Sur, let's look on October 12th, use points and update search and see if there is availability. And here we see, as promised, there is availability for a standard king bed room where it's only 45,000 points per night for a $2,000 per night room. Alila Ventana Big Sur is actually not the most difficult to book on Hyatt points. There is one that is nearly impossible. It is called Kalala Island. It is off the coast of Nicaragua. It is an all-inclusive resort, and they only have 4 rooms available. 4 private cottages. It's basically like you have your own private island, and it's nearly impossible to book. Even if we go to Aways and click on search, we are searching for Kalala Island, which is right here off the coast, Nicaragua. It's not available for the selected dates, and if we click on it, we can click this green arrow, check on award availability, and we can see that it is sold out for the entire year. Oh, there is one date, January 10, where it would be 40,000 points if you wanted to hop down to Nicaragua for one day. It is nearly 10 cents per point because it's nearly a $4,000 per night hotel for your own private island with maybe 3 other couples, all inclusive. If you did want to jump on that, it is the only date that we are seeing for the next year, and I'm sure by the time this video airs, somebody will have grabbed that particular date, but Kalala Island would be the most aspirational property that you could try to book with Hyatt points. Going back to this example with Alila Ventana Big Sur, One of my favorite things about the Hyatt program is if you are able to get Globalist status, you get so many perks. This particular resort is all-inclusive for everybody, but if you stay at a non-all-inclusive resort and you have Globalist status, you get free breakfast, you get free upgrades upon availability. For example, we stayed at Alila Ventana a couple times, and we got upgraded to a Big Sur suite one time. Another time we got upgraded to the Pacific House suite, where we had a private hot tub outside of our room. We got upgraded to this $2,400 per night room. And that is all thanks to Hyatt Globalist. And that is something that the BILT card made it easy to obtain once as well. So back in April, there was a status challenge where they were just giving out Excursionist status, which is the mid-tier status with Hyatt. You could get that status for free just by downloading the free BILT app. You didn't need to get the credit card, you didn't need to spend any money, you just needed to download the app and link it to your World of Hyatt loyalty ID number, and you would get free Excursionist status through July of 2023. So about 3 months of Excursionist status. And then, if within that 3-month period you stayed 10 qualifying nights, you would get to keep your Excursionist status. Or if you stayed 20 qualifying nights during those 3 months, you could achieve Globalist status, which you would get to keep until the end of February 2025, even though there is no February 29, 2025. So for a lot of people, they were able to really fast track getting Hyatt Globalist, where they didn't have to get 60 elite nights with Hyatt in a calendar year. They simply downloaded the BILT app for free, linked it to their Hyatt account for free, stayed 20 nights in that 3-month period, and then got Globalist status through February 2025, where they can get amazing upgrades, like to this Pacific House suite. In this example, they'll get free breakfast for their families whenever they're staying at Hyatt hotels, late checkout until 4 p.m., free parking when you're booking with points, and the ability to do guest of honor services, where you can book hotel stays for your friends or family or staff using the points from your Hyatt account. And when they stay at the Hyatt hotel, they'll be treated like they have Globalist status as well. So your friends and family and staff would also get Hyatt Globalist perks like free breakfast, upgrades, all of those perks, even if they've never stayed at a Hyatt before. That is the power of having Hyatt Globalist status, which was very easy to get back in April of 2023. Once again, this promo was only available for a limited time. That's how BILT does these, is they have to be a very, very limited time period to get these really outsized rewards, but they have even more of them coming up soon. Are you enjoying these types of videos where we cover different types of promotions to keep an eye out for and review which ones are worth the effort? If yes, please let me know. Click that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel for even more points and miles tips each week. We release a weekly video with these types of step-by-step tutorials. And we also have a podcast where I interview points enthusiasts about different strategies every week. Up next is a more next-level redemption for how to get free flights by structuring your itinerary in different ways with United. And also, we're going to cover how a lot of people were able to get free United status simply by downloading the BILT app. One of my favorite ways to use United points and get them to go much further than expected is to use them for a United Excursionist perk, where you can get a very, very long flight completely for free. Here's an example of how to structure an itinerary to use United Excursionist. So when you go to united.com, what you're going to do is click on this advanced search button. From there, you are going to say that you are booking a flight only with miles, and it's going to be a multi-city. Assuming everyone listening to this is in North America, what you're going to need to do is your first leg needs to be starting in the United States. Then you're going to go to a different region of the world, whether it's Europe, Africa, Southeast Asia, Oceania, something like that. And then from there, you can get a free flight. There are some rules to this. The free flight has to be wholly contained in a single region that is not your region of origin. So for example, Europe is one region, and from there it gets more complicated because Africa is actually 2 regions, South America is 2 regions, Asia is about 3 or 4 different regions. We will link to another video that goes much more in depth about how all the different regions work for the United Excursionist perk. But for this example, we can get a free flight from Cape Town over to Accra, Ghana, because those are in the same region of Southern Africa. And then your third part of your itinerary has to end back in your original point of origin, which is in the United States. Let's say that we just want to do this in economy for now, and we are going with any airline that they have available, and go ahead and click on Find Flights. From here, you just select your flights on the dates that you want. So let's say that we like this Savor Award flight from IAD over to Cape Town. It's only 45,000 points. And if everything has been set up correctly up until this point, your second leg will be free. It should zero out in this economy column where even if it's a non-direct flight, this is going from Cape Town over to Ethiopia, back over to Ghana, it's 0 miles plus about $40 in taxes and fees. These are a little bit more complicated where they go to Johannesburg first. We probably want to avoid these, but if you did want to hop around and see more cities and different airports, all of these are zeroed out options as well because they are all saver space. So let's say that we like this top option the best. We would like this free flight from Cape Town to Ethiopia to Ghana. And then from here, we like this option coming back where we are going from Ghana through Cairo back to Washington, D.C. for 45,000 points. So that means we could fly from Washington, D.C. to Cape Town, and then from Cape Town to Ghana, and then from Ghana back to Washington, D.C., and we don't have to pay for that middle leg. It's just like we booked 2 one-way flights and got 1 leg for free. That is actually the base case for United Excursionist perk, but it can get a lot hackier than that. Let's go over an advanced example. So to do an advanced option with the United Excursionist perk, we're going to start the exact same way. On united.com, click on Advanced Search. We are going to do flight only with miles, multi-city. So here are the rules you need to follow. Your first leg needs to start in your country of origin. So here it's the United States. So let's say that we just need a flight between Las Vegas and Los Angeles. We are going to find some completely different way to get over to Africa, but then once we're in Cape Town, we can cross over to Ghana still for free. These don't have to be a continuous itinerary. I know a lot of people wonder, how do you get from Los Angeles to Cape Town? Some other way that's not on this itinerary. Like maybe there is a good Air Canada sale or some other sale for getting from LAX to Cape Town. That is going to be outside the scope of this particular itinerary. But let's say that you wanted to just book positioning flight to Los Angeles, a Cape Town to Ghana flight, and then we need to get back from LAX over to Las Vegas. This itinerary still works because your first flight starts in the US, your free flight is in one region completely outside of the US, and then your last flight ends back in the US. Still economy, still all airlines. Let's click on Find Flights. So let's pick this Savor Award and say we just want this flight from Las Vegas to Los Angeles for 6.5 thousand miles plus $5.60. If everything has been set up correctly up to this point, you should see 0 miles plus $40.40 right here from Cape Town through Ethiopia over to Ghana. And then we'll just select another one of these on the way back. So LAX over to Las Vegas. And here we have these 2 positioning flights, plus this free flight all the way across Africa, and the entire itinerary only costs 13,000 miles plus about $52 in taxes and fees. A few things to keep in mind here. This third leg is completely optional. This first leg is not. If you do not take this first leg, your second free leg is going to get canceled. So do what you need to do to make sure you take this first leg. As mentioned, a lot of people get confused about how do you get from Los Angeles over to Cape Town some other way. Like let's say that you subscribe to a cheap flights newsletter and they say, oh, it's only going to be $300 or $500. There's a budget hotel. There's a budget airline that'll fly you from Los Angeles over to Cape Town on this date, and there's another one that'll fly you from Ghana back to Los Angeles on this date, but you have no way to connect those different deals. That's when this could be really, really handy, is to get a positioning flight to take advantage of those different cash deals that a lot of subscription newsletters send out. So that is how you do the next level hacky hack with United Excursionist Perk. You can move BILT points over to United to take advantage of Itineraries like that United Excursionist perk, BILT and Chase are the only two currencies that can move directly into United to do something like that. But what I think was even more exciting with BILT this past year was on November 1st, you could unlock about 120 days of complimentary United Silver status or Gold status. All you needed to do was download the free BILT app. You didn't need to get the credit card or spend any money on it or anything like that. Even if all you did was download the free app, you would automatically get BILT Blue tier, and that would get you United Silver status. And it would also unlock a status challenge where if you earned 1,000 PQP and 4 PQF flights during the 120-day trial period, you would get to keep the status. So that was another free status that you could get just by downloading the BILT app, and that was last November. If you're ready to jump on the BILT train and download the free app, we have a referral link for you in the description box. But what about the BILT card? Is this card a good fit for you? On one hand, there's no annual fee. You can earn 6x on dining and 4 points per dollar on travel on the first of every month, and you get to earn points on rent without any fees. Even if your landlord only accepts ACH payments or paper checks, BILT can handle that for you. They can wire your landlord a rent payment or mail them a check on your behalf and then charge the rent amount to your card with no extra fees. And that lets you earn points on rent. But on the other hand, there's not much of a sign-up bonus compared to other cards on the market. Also, non-renters often wonder if it's worth a 5/24 spot in order to take advantage of some of the transfer bonuses we've mentioned. If you're not sure what card to get, we offer free credit card consultations at geobreezetravel.com/consultations. We'll send you a personalized recommendation based on your particular goals, budget, and lifestyle. Or if you would prefer to earn more points without opening more and more cards, I totally understand. I've compiled some of my favorite ways for you to earn more points in a free webinar called You Don't Need 20 Cards. Sign up for the free webinar at geobreezetravel.com/webinar. I personally use BILT points a lot. We recently took advantage of a BILT transfer bonus and booked 2 Virgin Atlantic business class tickets from London directly back to Las Vegas for only 60,000 points total. Here is an even more amazing redemption that you can make with Virgin Atlantic. There's another use case where you might want to use the United calendar to find some really good flight awards that you can use BILT with, even if you're not actually going to transfer your points over to United. Let me explain. So one of the best flights in the world, one of the greatest point sweet spots, is if you can book ANA business class using Virgin Atlantic miles. It can be a little bit tricky to find, so the best way to do this would be to go to seats.aero, explore, and go to Air Canada Aeroplan, since Air Canada and United and ANA are all Star Alliance partners. You're going to search from North America over to Asia, and then search for something to either Narita or Haneda Airport. I like to search for this route from San Francisco. They also have a lot of Seattle or Los Angeles, but let's say San Francisco for now. What you're gonna do is look for dates where there is business availability. It's highlighted in green so you know it's direct. And when you highlight, it's going to have NH as one of the codes. That lets you know that there is a flight operated by ANA. So let's take this example. This is on August 20th from San Francisco to Narita for 75,000 miles, and one of the codes is NH. This makes it easier to search on Air Canada if you're using seats.aero, but alternatively, you could just go to United Airlines, search from San Francisco over to Tokyo, one-way, book with miles, and you can use their flexible date calendar if you'd like. Since for this example, we were searching for last-minute flights, we'll just say August for one adult in business class and find flights. I already know that it's going to be on August 20th as one of the examples, so let's just type in that particular date based off of what we found on seats.aero. If it asks you to log in, don't log in, because that might show you some phantom award space with United that you can't actually book on other airlines. Once your results have loaded, what you're gonna do is highlight stops and only look for non-stop flights. And then from there, you're going to look for flights like this one, where it's operated by All Nippon Airways. This is from San Francisco over to Haneda, and it looks like you can book it on United for 110,000 miles plus $5.60 per person, one way in business class. For the exact same flight, you could book it through Air Canada instead. It would cost 75,000 points here, and both United and Air Canada are partners with BILT. But there's a way to do this even better. This is an article by 1 Mile at a Time where it shows you how to redeem Virgin Atlantic points to fly on ANA, All Nippon Airways. If you are flying from something like San Francisco or Los Angeles or Seattle where you're in the Western United States, it's 90,000 points for a round-trip flight. And you can book one-ways for half the cost. So it's only going to cost 45,000 points if you wanted to fly this route from San Francisco to Haneda on ANA instead of 110,000. So less than half the cost if you book this with Virgin Atlantic instead. The trick is, you won't be able to see this on Virgin Atlantic's website. That's why we either need to search on Air Canada or United and find the flight availability there, and then you need to call Virgin Atlantic by calling this phone number, 800-365-9500. From there, you can give them the flight number that you found on United's website, and they can confirm whether or not they see the same availability. If they say yes, and they see it on their side with Virgin Atlantic, then you can go ahead and move BILT points, or really any other type of points, over to Virgin Atlantic and get this flight booked as an award ticket. BILT also had a really great points transfer over to Virgin Atlantic for 1 day only. This was on August 1st, 2023, where you could move BILT points over to your Virgin Atlantic account, and you would get a pretty hefty bonus. So somewhere between 75% and 150% transfer bonus. So let's say that you only had silver status with BILT, you would still get 100% transfer bonus. That means for every 1,000 BILT points you move to Virgin Atlantic, it would turn into 2,000 Virgin Atlantic points. So in order to book a flight like this, where you would normally need 45,000 Virgin Atlantic points in order to get that ANA business class flight, you could actually do that for only about 23,000 BILT points transferred over to Virgin Atlantic to book this on ANA. I personally booked this exact route very recently. Normally, if you are able to book this flight, it's more than $15,000 per person each way in business class. So if you only have to spend 45,000 points to fly it by transferring in Amex or Capital One or Chase points to Virgin Atlantic, you're getting 33 cents per point. If you were able to take advantage of the BILT promo to do this, where let's say you got a 100% transfer bonus and you were able to book this $15,000 flight for only about 23,000 BILT points transferred over to Virgin Atlantic, that means you got close to 67 cents per point, which is absolutely insane. And that's how you can really stretch your BILT points to go very far and get you a ton of value. We have one more set of tutorials left, and this one is more of a future prediction / wish list of a BILT transfer bonus that would be hugely beneficial for the points community. And if you're looking for even more next level ways to make the most out of your points, we have a couple of options for you. The first way is through the GeoBreeze Travel Patreon, which you can access through patreon.com/GeoBreezeTravel. Through the Patreon, we can prepare personalized step-by-step tutorials based on the exact routes that you want to see. We also host a live group coaching session every month. You can ask any questions that you have about points, travel, or anything else in the open forum. We also have a lot of people who join the $5 level just to say, thanks for the free content. And I am all here for that. The second option is for business owners or individuals who spend more than $100,000 a year on expenses. If that's you, we would love to chat with you about our points portfolio management offer. I don't know if you know, but you can get some incredible luxury travel with that level of spend. Book a free intro chat with us at geobreezetravel.com/intro call to learn more. Okay, here are some amazing redemptions I hope to be able to make with BILT points in the future. Let me know if you think these redemptions would make you jump on the BILT card too. One BILT transfer partner that I am just crossing my fingers for a transfer bonus on is American Airlines. BILT is currently the only one of the flexible transfer partners that can transfer directly to American Airlines, Chase, Amex, Capital One, Citi. None of those transfer directly in with their flexible points. So BILT is the only one there, and if they can build in one of those 100% transfer bonuses, that would be amazing, because here are some things that you can do with American Airlines to get a ton of value out of those points. Once again, I like to go to seats.aero and use their Explore feature for American Airlines. And one of the most common destinations we get asked about is to go to Japan. American Airlines and JAL are both actually part of the same One World Alliance, and you can fly to either Narita or Haneda for 52.5 thousand points from Hawaii, or 60,000 points in business class from the West Coast. So let's say that we wanted to go to Narita and we are flying from somewhere like Seattle. There are quite a few Seattle dates to be had right here, and we can also show extended availability to get even more availability notifications from seats.aero. So here we see there's a flight on JL, which is Japan Airlines, direct from Seattle to Narita for only 60,000 miles. This is on June 6th. So when we see that award availability here, what we would do next is go to americanairlines.com and search from Seattle over to Narita, one person for now. We would do this on June 10. And here we do see there is one seat left. You could fly all the way from Seattle to Tokyo, 11 hours in nonstop business class for only 60,000 American Airlines miles, plus $5.60 one way per person. And that's already amazing value, but it would be even more amazing if you could transfer in 30,000 BILT points, get 100% transfer bonus, and get 60,000 American Airline miles that way. BILT team, please make it happen. Another amazing sweet spot that you can get with American Airlines is flying from North America over to Europe. And here, the vast majority of what you're going to find is through British Airways, which is a partner with American Airlines. And you can usually fly in business class from a variety of different US cities over to London Gatwick or London Heathrow. The problem with these is they have very, very, very high taxes and fees. But there is a way around this. If you want to fly from North America over to Europe and only pay 57.5 thousand points, but not pay ridiculous taxes, I recommend going through Helsinki instead. With Helsinki, you will be flying most likely Finnair instead of British Airways. And how to confirm is you want to hover over these, and if you see the code AY, that means it is going to be a Finnair flight rather than a British Airways flight. Beware of these where it has either option, because you might end up with British Airways. So you want to make sure that you are scanning for ones where it only has AY. Here's, for example, a Miami one, and then here is a Dallas-Fort Worth one, here's another Miami one, here's another Miami one. Let's search for dates between Helsinki and Miami. There's 3 dates right here. Let's look at this March 21st option and confirm with the American Airlines website that we do see that same availability. So once we are on americanairlines.com, we are going to go from Miami over to Helsinki. This is going to be on March 21st. Go ahead and click search. And here we do see that business class flight from Miami over to Helsinki. It's nonstop, 9.5 hours for only 57.5 thousand points, plus $5.60. So none of that $300 or $700 taxes and fees that we usually see with the British Airlines. And once again, imagine if there were only a transfer bonus one day from BILT over to American Airlines. You could maybe get this flight for less than 29,000 points per person one way in business class, which would be absolutely incredible. There is one more example that I want to go through with American Airlines partners and how you can get a lot of value out of American Airlines points. And that is if we are going through the Middle East into the Maldives, which is another one of those most commonly requested destinations that we get requests for. So on seats.aero, we would be searching from North America to Asia, and let's type in Doha right here. The sweet spot here is going to be the 70,000 points. We do have way fewer available routes with Qatar Airways, which is the preferred way to do this, than we used to see. Here we have American Airlines, British Airways, AABA, AAAT. But here we do have one availability where it's operated by QR, which means it's Qatar Airways. And this is going to be from Houston over to Doha. So on American Airlines, we would search from IAH over to Doha. For the date that it showed on seats.aero which is going to be September 15. Go ahead and click search. And here we see that it is operated by Qatar Airways, nonstop, 14.5 hours, nearly 15 hours, from Houston over to Doha for only 70,000 points plus $7.65 in taxes and fees. But it gets better. American Airlines doesn't charge for extra legs that are tacked on beyond this route, as long as you're staying within the same region. So let's say you needed to position from Kansas City down to Houston, then go to Doha, then go over to the Maldives. Let's just say Houston to the Maldives for now. Same date as what we found before, but if we click search, it's still the exact same price, just a few more dollars in taxes and fees, but this would go from Houston over to Doha, over to the Maldives, still operated by Qatar, in business class, 70,000 points, plus about $42 in taxes and fees here. Once again, I like to imagine that one day BILT will have one of those magical 100% transfer bonuses over to American Airlines, and that this can all be booked for only 35,000 points per person one way, which would be incredible. So that is my wish that I am throwing out into the universe to see if the powers that be can make it happen. I hope you found those tutorials useful. Suggestions for future topics are always welcome. In the meantime, if you enjoyed these tutorials, I think you will enjoy this video next.